right, in this video, we're going to talk about absolute value graphs. So one thing that we need to make sure that we remember is exactly what the parent function of an absolute value looks like. This is the equation for the parent function, and we need to make sure that we remember what happens or how it's translated and what parts of the equations are affected. If we move our graph up 3, then we're going to keep the equation the same, except for on the outside, we're going to add 3. If we move it down, then again, it's going to be outside of our absolute value signs, but it's going to be a minus 5. In this particular equation here, remember it moves it in the opposite direction. So instead of plus 2, it's going to move to the left 2. This opposite direction of minus 6 is to the right 6. Now, if we were asked to write an equation where it moves right 3 and up 5, y is equal to right 3 opposite direction. Normally it would be a plus 3, but we're going to make sure that we do the opposite. So that's minus 3, and up 5 is going to be in the same direction as the sign. This last one, we're going to move it to the left 4, so left would going to be a plus 4, and down 5 would be minus 5. When we talk about reflecting something across the x-axis, let's look at our equations. The absolute value of a negative 2 is 2. Absolute value of a negative 1 is 1. Absolute value of 0 is 0. Absolute value of 1 is 1. And the absolute value of 2 is 2. The absolute value, when we plug this in, the absolute value of a negative 2 is 2. But we have that negative sign in front of it, so it's going to be a negative 2. Absolute value of a negative 1 is 1, and then we take the opposite. The absolute value of 0 is 0, and the opposite of 0 is 0. The absolute value of 1 is 1, but when we take the opposite of it, it's going to become a negative 1 and a negative 2. Okay, so if we graph our original problem, our original absolute value problem, let's graph that in red. So I'll put a little red arrow there. So if I do that, then we're going to look something like this graph, this graph. Okay, if we do the second one in blue, right, then we're going to have negative 2, negative 2. It's going to be flipped across our x-axis. It's going to be the mirror image. It's just flipped across that axis. Okay. Now, when we talk about moving left 4 and up 3 and flipping it, when we look at our equation, absolute value left 4 is going to be a plus 4, up 3 is going to be plus 3, and the flip part is going to be our negative sign right in front of it. Okay. When we talk about transformations, let's take just a minute and look at how each one of these transforms our equations and what our graphs look like. So if I go back to my very original equation, let's do that one in red, starts at the origin, and we go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. For this one, we don't have anything inside the absolute value sign that's added or subtracted. We don't have anything outside. So it's still going to start at 0, 0. Okay, so we're still starting here. But this tells us our steepness, like in a line. We're going to go up 3 and to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1. And then we just simply do the same thing on the other side in the opposite direction, so that when we go to graph this one, it looks steeper. That 3 in front of it stretches our graph. Okay, so it stretches our graph. If this number is greater than 1, it's going to stretch our graph. Let's look at the next one. If we look at nothing added or subtracted inside the absolute value or outside the absolute value, so we're still going to start at 0, 0. Now we go up 2 and to the right 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one changes, and it's almost like it's pushing down on our graph. So if we look at it in those terms, this graph is compressed, or it's smushed, it's flattened, because this fraction is still greater than 1, but, excuse me, greater than 0, but less than 1. So this is called a compressed, because it's a fraction, and this one is called a stretched graph, because it's greater than 1. Okay? So remember those numbers, and those are going to be our A values that are located in our general equation for an absolute value function. So our A tells us whether our vertical is stretched or compressed. The H value, we do the opposite direction. So if this is a minus a number in here, it's going to move to the right. If this is a plus number in here, it's going to move to the left. So this moves in the opposite direction of the sign. And if it's outside the absolute value sign, then that translates your graph either up or down in the same direction as the sign. So this is an important general equation that you need to make sure that you have copied down. All right, so we've got three graphs here that we're going to look at and graph. So I want you to pause the video, and when you've got all three of them graphed, come back and let's look at the explanation. Okay, so for this one, a couple things we're going to look at. My A value is 2, so that means it has a steepness. My vertex is located opposite of this, so that's a positive 5, positive 2. So I'm going to put a point here on my vertex at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. And then from there, I'm going to go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. That's my steepness. And then I go up to left 1. So that gives me my graph of my absolute value. Now when I'm looking at this, my graph keeps going left and right. So my domain is all real numbers. Remember that double bar R. My range starts here and is everything above it. So my range is actually y is greater than or equal to 2. For this next one, a couple of things I have to look at. I've got this negative, so that means that it's flipped across my x-axis. I have a steepness of 2/3, so that means it's compressed. I have nothing inside added or subtracted to x, so that means I'm going to start at the point 0 and then 3. So if I put a point at 0, 3, I'm opening down, so I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, to the right 3, down 2, to the right 3. Do the same thing on the other side. So that gives me what my graph is going to look like. Remember, because it is flipped across that negative, it's flipped across the x-axis, so it's going to be opening downward. It still continues to move left and right, so my domain is still going to be all real numbers. My range now, I go up to 3, but then I point downward. So my range is y is less than or equal to positive 3. Now on this graph, I'm looking at it and I already have it graphed. I have a vertex at the point 1, negative 2, and it's opening up. So that means that my A value is positive. So I don't have to put anything in front of that. So I'm going to have x. Remember, I do the opposite of this sign. So x minus 1, absolute value, minus 2. Now, one more thing that I'm going to have to look at when I add it is I have to go up 2 to the right 3. So my steepness is going to be 2/3 in front of that absolute value. My domain, it continues to go left and right. So it's all real numbers. But my range starts here at negative 2 and it goes up. So y is greater than or equal to negative 2. Couple of things that we need to make sure that we remember when we're graphing these. If I have a less than sign, then that means my line is going to be dotted and I will shade below my graph. If I have a greater than symbol, it's going to be a dotted line, but it's going to be shaded above. If I have a less than or equal to sign, it's going to be a solid line shaded below. So notice, no line, then it's dotted. a line underneath my inequality, it's solid. Less than, I shade below. Greater than, I shade above my graph. Look at these three and then pause your video when you finish graphing them and come back and check your answers. Okay, for this one, I'm going to look at this. This is basically a linear graph. So this is y technically equals mx plus b. This is my slope. This is my y-intercept. So I have a y-intercept at +1, and my slope is 2. So up 2 to the right 1, or down to left 1. So that gives me enough information that I can draw my graph. And I have to make sure that when I draw this one, that I am indeed, because this is less than, it's going to be what? Yeah, it's going to be a dotted line. It does continue on in both directions, okay? But I have to figure out which side am I going to shade on. So in order to determine which side I'm going to shade, I know it's less than. So if I plug this in and I look at it, this is the side that is less than. Another way that you could check is you can come back and you can pick a point. So let's say that I pick the point 0, 0, and I plug it in. Is 0 less than 2 times 0 plus 1? Is 0 less than 1? Yes, that's a true statement, so I shade on the side that this point is on. If it were a false statement, then I would shade on the other side. For the next one, I've got a line underneath my inequality sign, so I'm going to make sure that I get my y by itself. So I'm going to divide everything by a -2, so that shifts my inequality sign around. So that gives me 3 over -2x, and a -4 divided by -2 is a +4. Okay, so remember, multiplying or dividing by a negative, you have to switch that inequality sign around. We know that it's going to be a solid line, so when I go to graph this one, y equals mx plus b, crosses at +4. I go down 3, right 2, down 3, right 2. And I can draw my line on this one. Right, and this one says greater than. So the side that's greater than on my graph is going to be above it. Again, we could do the same thing. We could pick the same point, 0, 0, and plug it in, see if it makes a true statement or false statement. Hopefully it'll make a false statement because we didn't shade on that side. Is 0 greater than or equal to -3/2 times 0 plus 4? Is 0 greater than or equal to 4? No, that's not. So we shade on the other side. But here we know that this one we've got an absolute value problem. First thing I'm going to look at is my vertex. My vertex is located at 2. Nothing's on the outside added or subtracted, so that's 0. So 2, 0 is here. I have a steepness of 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. I have no line underneath my inequality, so when I go to graph this one, I have to make sure that it's a dotted line. And because it's less than, I will be shading below my inequality. So when I shade below, it's going to be down here. All right, you've got 3 more graphs. Take a look at these. Pause your video. I'm going to stop this video and I'll come back and pick up at the next one.